Come there. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, you can't. And they- somebody-
Even things like the number of hotspots we have has gone up.
So it's great.
Yeah.
It's paying off. Okay, it sounds like we have got everything back online and we are ready to move on to the regular meeting. I apologize for the delay. Technology is always fun. So let's go ahead and call the June 9th regular meeting to order. Could start with roll call, please.
Chair Wilson,
Here.
Vice Chair Benavidez,
Here.
Trustee Foyt,
Here.
Trustee Wah,
Here.
Trustee Haran,
Here.
Trustee Melendrez, Trustee Ortiz,
Here.
Trustee Rainmaker,
Here.
Trustee Rogers,
Here.
Trustee Whiteley.
Here.
And we have a quorum, Chair.
Thank you. If everyone could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'm still determined to get a national anthem singer in here just one time, just once. Somebody's got to be able to sing, right? On that note, do we have anyone for public comment at this time?
No, we don't.
Thank you very much. Okay. Moving on, has everyone had a chance to review the agenda?
I'll move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, the agenda is accepted. And as you know, very quickly, I just want to say that it's a very packed agenda, so I will try my best to keep it moving quickly, but I apologize if the meeting takes a little while because we've got a lot to get through and some of it's some really fun stuff like West Las Vegas. The minutes, has everybody taken a look at the minutes?
Move to approve.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, and minutes are accepted. As far as the chair's report, I do not have anything new to add at this time, so I will turn it over to Director Watson for the library reports.
Thank you, Chair. My report is submitted. I just wanted to point out from the attachment of my report, and then I'll take any questions. I wanted to recognize and acknowledge the grant funding that the library district has been procuring and securing over the past year plus with the different grants and supporting different programs from the LSTA funding for the playaways, which are actual a hit at all of our branches with the increase in digital resources for Access 360, the funding for the cell phones and the Anytime Library that we recently were awarded this, and then some of the pending grants that we're waiting to hear back from. Just wanted to demonstrate. I know that as part of my interview process when I came on board as director, or as I was interviewing to be the executive director, we talked about finance and questions were asked about grants, and so I wanted to just bring this information to the board regarding the funding that's come through grants, but also acknowledge the work that the development office has also done regarding securing and procuring foundation funding, working with other foundations and other grant making entities that have ultimately supports the district, the library district, and ultimately our the community. So those are my comments, but now I also certainly take any questions that the trustees may have regarding my director's report.
Trustees, does anyone have any reports, comments, questions they'd like to call forward at this time?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, trustee Wall?
if I could, I would like to bring Mr. Serpico up.
For the record, Jeff Serpico, Director of Human Resources. Chair
Hi,
Wilson.
Jeff.
Hey, sorry, how are you doing?
I'm somewhere around here. I just wanted to, so I know one of the first things that I had kind of asked and put on your plate was the exit surveys, and I know a small number of those have been completed, and I just was wondering if you could just kind of give us a high level, what have you kind of gleaned from that? I know, again, it's a very small sample size, but just kind of an idea of kind of what we're seeing as far as, or what we're hearing, more importantly, of employees who are transitioning out.
Absolutely. We did go live with our exit interview program through the Work Institute, which is a third party, in March. We've had 13 respondents since then. These are actually phone interviews based on structured questionnaires. For a 95% confidence level on the data, we need to have about 92 of these done. So we're still a little bit shy of that. But keep in mind, we only have about 5 to 10 separations a month. On the high end annually, our turnover is probably around 18%, which is about 120 folks. So to get a good data set, it's going to take about 9 or 10 months. The data gets broken down and the graphs are included in the report by group and description. The descriptions are the subgroups within a group. For example, the career group consists of school or leaving for a different career. Key measure is the NES score, which is net excellence. They call that top box in some industries. And that's simply the subtracting from the excellent scores, the percentage, the very good and good. The idea is that you go back and look at the very good and see what you needed to do to get to excellent. You look at those comments. So as we get more surveys in, we'll do a deeper dive into that to see. We do get comments individually. Those are provided to Director Watson, and then he meets with the directors to see if there's any patterns in the written comments. Sometimes they mention names, so we're not putting those in the report right now, but those are provided to Director Watson now on a monthly basis. We'll look for patterns. Right now, the most important reason for leaving has been retirement and career. I think we saw that with the VESP. Some of the people who left for the VESP were called. And then also, as we said, we have quite a few part-time positions where people move along for positions with benefits, or with school, they go back to school, and we have high turnover amongst the part-time jobs. One of the things we have been looking at is the number of the part-time jobs, and could we do a little bit more on the full-time side. Rating of the organization overall, 92% good or above, 15% excellent. So, but keep in mind, this is very early. It's only 13 responses. We may want to do at the next board retreat, I could have Workforce Institute do a really quick overview of how they collect the data and what they do. Using a third party is actually more cost efficient. And actually, it's got a little bit more, you don't run into people saying that we're manipulating the data or changing responses. So any questions?
No, thank you very much, Jeff. I love the idea of bringing them in at our next retreat to kind of get a little more information. But thank you for your work on this. And then just one more comment about Kelvin's report is just on the grants and the development department is great work. Like I said, with those phones, we're seeing people get housing and be housed with these devices, which is absolutely huge. And that goes to show how important these are in the homeless community. So thank you, Kelvin and Joanne and Sherry for all your work there.
Thank you. I have one very quick thing that I just have to point out. It's technically in the library operations report, but no need for anybody to come up because this is really for the entire district as a whole. That this just jumped out of the page at me and I felt it worth mentioning that our circulation 20% increase over April last year. We're at 91% of pre-pandemic levels on our circulation again. That's great, But what makes that so great is our gate count's only back to 60%, which means all of the work everybody in this entire organization has done to come up with alternative means to reach the public and to serve the public, that we can get back to a 91% circulation where we're still at, pre-pandemic level circulation with our gate count down so far still. I just want to applaud all of you for the effort and the work. That just really stood out to me. So that's a personal thank you. On that note, does anybody else have any reports they'd like to pull forward?
I have one.
Absolutely.
If I
Trustee
could have
Benitez.
Matt McNally come up real quick. So I did see this under the branding and marketing in Betsy's report, but I assume it might be falling under you, the mental health workshops that happened in May? No.
Well, for the record, Matt McNally, Community Engagement Director. I'm not sure as to the specificity of the mental health workshops that you're referring to.
So I saw it on Betsy's report, but it was, we had workshops throughout May in some of our libraries, and I just wanted to showcase and wanted to ask more questions, but this might be for someone else then.
Was this in relationship with Pima Medical Institute?
So on the flyer itself, it didn't say, it just has, that it was a sponsored library district. And then it happened on May 4th, the 11th, the 18th and the 25th, and it was a mental health workshop. But I just thought it was something, I always like to showcase when the library thinks outside the box. And I've always said that the library is so much more than just books. And so to me, this was just a bright kind of like, wow, kudos to staff to, thinking outside the box, especially right now with everything going on. So I just wanted to ask if this was something that would be reoccurring as well. So if the question can't be answered now, later on is fine as well.
So I just took a look at Trustee Benavidez's screen. So the program was at Sahara West, Matt, but
Okay.
so we can follow up specifically on.
It was at, 2 were at Sahara West and 2 were at the Clark County Library.
Yeah. So we'll follow up and provide an answer back.
Perfect.
Sure, I'd be happy to do that in my next report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Anyone
I do
else?
have one-
Trustee Ortiz?
yeah. First of all, thank you for making those comments about the success of bringing people back. That hit it right out of the park. That's absolutely correct. Thank you for pointing that out. That's
Thank
what the public needs to hear. This is for Mr. Flores Caballos. It's a quick question. These people ask, what's happening? What do we do in our money? And so that's a testament to what's occurring. So thank you. This is a quick question. I'm looking at page 147 of your general ledger.
Okay.
And so just a curious question. There was an expenditure for $8,861 for Teamsters Union dues. Can you explain that? Why do we pay $8,000 to the Teamsters?
Oh, those are fees paid by represented employees on a monthly
So-
basis?
So we collect from the employees and then we give it to the Teamsters?
That's correct. It's deducted from their paychecks and we pass it on to the Teamsters.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm satisfied. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Chairman Wilson, I just wanted to comment as I came in today. I did speak with the employee who's in charge of the teen center here at this particular branch, and he is just thrilled with the expansion that's going to be coming underway. You probably saw a lot of empty shelving as you came in, and that's what it was all about. And the fact that I don't believe we've had a teen workforce facility before. It will be used not only by teens who live in this area, but also connected to the community college at the same time, as well as the fact that the teen center itself will be terrific. But I was quite impressed for that. So they're underway.
Thank you, Trustee Foy. Does anyone else have any reports, comments, questions they'd like to pull forward at this time? Okay. Seeing none, I will go ahead and accept the library reports. Next up would be unfinished business, which we have none. So we will go on to new business. There is nothing on our consent agenda, so we will go to the regular agenda, discussion and possible board action regarding contract award for the purchase of theater lighting equipment for various district locations.
Good morning. Good evening, everyone. John Vino, General Services Director for the record. General Services worked with Community Engagement's Technical Production Services to put out a public bid for theater lighting. Funds were allocated in the capital funds to purchase replacement theater equipment for various district locations. The equipment is in need of replacement due to the age and functionality deficiencies. An invitation to bid was advertised in the Review Journal, posted on the district's website, and emailed to Minority Chamber of Commerce, and posted in the Nevada Governor e-Marketplace known as NGEM. And using NGEM, we were able to do some targeted outreach. We would posted our public bid to over 3,000 vendors. 215 were registered minority businesses, 62 were disadvantaged businesses, and 430 were small business enterprises. The bid opening was held on May 20th, 2022. A total of 6 bids were received. We've listed the bids in the order they were received in terms of amounts. 2 were non-responsive only because they did not bid the full package. The lowest responsive and reasonable bidder is Solitech, U.S. corporation. They are registered as a local small business. They are an existing business that the district has worked with in the past. Staff is requesting a motion to authorize staff to award the contract for purchase of theater lighting equipment for various district locations in accordance with bid number 2209 to Solitech U.S. Corporation for the amount of $98,921. I'm happy to answer any questions on the bid.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, trustee Wah.
I would move to authorize staff to award a contract for purchase of theater lighting equipment for various district locations in accordance with bid number 22-09 to Solitech U.S. Corporation for the amount of $98,921.
Motion by trustee Wah. Do we have a second?
Second, Felipe.
Second from trustee Ortiz. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, discussion and possible action regarding contract award for the purchase of project lens equipment and materials for various district locations. Wait a minute, that's a typo of the same thing. Are we doing a second agenda item of it?
Second agenda, this
Okay.
is projectors.
Okay.
So again, General Services teamed up with Community Engagement's Technical Production Services to purchase or upgrade projectors at various locations. It's mostly Clark County, Summerlin, and Windmill. Funds are allocated in the capital project funds to purchase projectors equipment for various district locations. The equipment is in need of replacement due to age and functionality deficiencies. We did an invitation to bid. Again, it was put in the Review Journal, posted on the district's website, emailed to Minority Chamber of Commerce, and posted on NGEM. Again, we were able to do targeted outreach to over 1,500 businesses. 130 were minority, 41 were disadvantaged businesses, and 245 were small business enterprises. The invitation to bid was opened on May 20th. We did receive 8 bids. The bids were in order below. We did receive a number of bids from minorities. The winning bid goes to B&H, who is not. The lowest responsible bidder is B&H Photo Electronics, a long-term vendor of the district. Staff is asking for a motion to authorize staff to award the contract for the purchase of projectors, lenses, equipment, and material for various district locations in accordance with bid 22-01 to B&H Photo Electronics Corporation in the amount of $94,295.
Mr. Chair,
Just
I'd move to authorize staff to award a contract for the purchase of projectors, lens, equipment, and materials for various district locations in accordance with bid number 22-10 to B&H Photo Electronics Corp. In the for $94,295.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by trustee Wass, second by trustee Raymaker. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, on to item 3, discussion and possible board action regarding contract award for property and casualty insurance and public officials and employment practices liability insurance for the policy year commencing on July 15th, 2022.
The district's property and casualty insurance and public officials insurance and employment practice liability insurance policies renews on July 15th. The USI Insurance Services Broker of Record conducted a thorough review of the district's current policies and coverages and prepared a proposal of insurance package and recommendations for contract award. The Board of Trustees Risk Management Committee is scheduled to meet with the broker of record prior to the board meeting for presentation of the board's proposal and discussion of staff's review and recommendation for contract award, and that took place June 2nd last week. The Risk Management Committee will bring forward a recommendation for contract award to the Board of Trustees at the June 9th meeting. Would you like me to read the motion as it stands here?
Actually, I have it here.
Okay. I do have representatives from USI here in the audience, should you need any questions answered.
I stepped in for trustee Raymaker for part of the meeting for risk management. We reviewed it, and there was one item that we were still waiting on that was a very small portion of the policy, just so that we have it on the record. And we've structured the motion to cap the maximum that can be spent once they get the bid, because they just will not bid it until it's less than 30 days from the date effective in July 15th. The committee felt that that was an acceptable solution. And trustee Raymaker, I believe you have the motion that the committee put forward and recommended for the board there.
Yes. So I move the motion to authorize staff to award a contract for property and casualty insurance and public officials employment practice liability insurance through USI Insurance to Travelers, Chubb Federal, Benchmark, Tokyo Marine Specialties, Great American, Indian Harbor, and Atlanta Specialties, an amount at an annual premium not to exceed $395,275.53 for the policy year commencing July 15th, subject to final review by council.
Motion by trustee Raymaker. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Chair, I have some questions.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. On that note, do we have any discussion or questions on the policies and insurance?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Vino. Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. Mr. Vino, how many claims have we had?
We have
Pastor-
2 open claims right now.
I'm sorry, say it again.
2 open claims right now.
Very good. And as compared to the year before,
Uh,
if you can recall?
I don't think we've had more than 4 or 5 claims open at any one time for quite a while.
Very good. Next question is from a percentage
This year,
question. How much is this? How
This
much
is
more
a-
did this go up?
9.8% is what we're looking at for this particular over previous years.
So,
Over 5 years, we're averaging 5% over the last 5 years as a total, which is on the market. It's just, since COVID, the insurance market has been very volatile, and that hasn't changed.
so let me see. I don't want to put words in your mouth. So it's gone up 5% every year except for this year, which went up to
It's
9%.
average 5%. So we've had some years where we haven't had smaller increases, and the last couple of years have averaged around 8 or 9%.
And I'm sorry, I missed the risk management, but
Yep.
is this the same company from last year?
All the same companies bid. We went out to market, so we actually didn't just go to our existing. We went out, USI went out and gave our policies, for a broad spectrum. And our current vendors are the ones that had the best pricing.
And so last question, and I do apologize. So the quote that they gave us was the best policy or the best price?
Same policy, it's the best price. The only one that really responded was Philadelphia, which was substantially higher than Travelers. And for reasons.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm satisfied.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or discussion on the motion? On that note, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next up, item 4, my favorite item of the night. Discussion and possible board action regarding approval of terms and authorization for staff to enter into negotiations for an interlocal agreement with the city of Las Vegas for the exchange of the West Las Vegas Library building and related improvements for a city-owned parcel, capital contribution, and other consideration for the construction of the new West Las Vegas Library and approval of resolution number 2022-01 regarding the same.
Thank you, sir. We have two motions that need to be read into the record. So the existing West Las Vegas Library is a one-story, approximately 17,000 square foot building that excludes the theater. It is located in the historic West Las Vegas portion, West Lake Mead and H Street of the Valley. The existing building is comprised of the original library building and 2 building additions, which are made up of the current 298 seat theater, as well as the 1,500 square foot Young People's Library. The district for several years has struggled to expand services in this location that are needed by the community. The library has been at capacity for several years, and the current building is not conducive to expansion, and parking is extremely limited. After discussions between the district and the city of Las Vegas, the parties agree that transferring the West Las Vegas Library to the city of Las Vegas for their future use is mutually beneficial. The city of Las Vegas will require the space they need for future, and the district will be able to build a new West Las Vegas Library in the nearby Las Vegas Enterprise Park. The new location overlaps the current service area for the current West Las Vegas. There has been a desire for several years on the part of the district and for city leaders to expand the service in the West Las Vegas area. West Las Vegas is an inner city area whose residents face physical, transportation, and economic barriers that puts them at the disadvantage for access to library services. The district leases the parcel from the city upon which the West Las Vegas Library building and related improvements were constructed. The appraised value of the premises is $3,220,000. The city owns a vacant lot, approximately 5.25 acres, located on Martin Luther King and Mount Moriah Drive, commonly known as Enterprise Park Development Site, and which will become the site of the new West Las Vegas Library. In exchange for the transfer of the premises from the district to the city will convey the Enterprise Park Development Site to the district, along with capital contributions going towards the cost of the new library and other considerations. Pursuant to NRS 227.050, the governing bodies of public agencies may exchange land for property or cash. The terms of the exchange agreement are as follows. The district transfers the premises to the city upon execution of the interlocal agreement. City conveys the Enterprise Park Development Site to the district upon execution of an interlocal agreement. The closing of the transaction will occur on or before 60 days after the execution of the agreement, unless extended by mutual agreement by the city and the district. The city's capital contribution of $3,220,000 to be paid to the district as a capital outlay to design and construct improvements on the development site at its cost for the purpose of establishing a public library and associated parking. The district agrees to design, construct, and maintain the new library in accordance with Enterprise Park's covenants, conditions, and restrictions. The city shall work in good faith to identify funding sources for required off-site improvements, including but not limited to traffic lights, crosswalks, turn lanes relative to the development site. The city's capital contribution will be held by the district in escrow, separate from district funds to be used in connection with the development of the new library, and not applied to the development of the new library until such time as a building permit for the vertical construction of the new library has been issued. In the event the library district does not commence construction of the new library by a commencement date to be agreed on by the parties, the city will have the right to require the district to repay the ground lease termination payment to the city, to reconvey to the city the new library site. And in such an event, the ground lease shall be reinstated for their full remaining term and the same terms and conditions. The city agrees to allow the district to use the space it currently occupies within the premises without any lease or rental fee during the term of design, construction, and occupancy of the new West Las Vegas Library. The district will remain responsible during the holdover term at its cost and expense for all maintenance, repairs of the facility as required under the ground lease. In the event the city timely obtains in the future additional allocations of new market tax credits, it will consider making new market tax credits available to the district in connection with the West Las Vegas Library. The city will also cooperate to assist the district to obtain other federal or state new market tax credits or other third-party available subsidies. The district will agree to operate the theater in the existing library during the holdover term at the same level as it currently operates by the district. The agreement will grant to the district the right to use the theater in the existing library after closing for a minimum of up to 4 times yearly. City and district shall divide all costs of the transaction, including recording costs, escrow fees, title insurance costs, and transfer tax, if any. The estimated project cost for the new West Las Vegas is $30 million. The project cost includes architectural and construction management fees, construction, furniture, and equipment technologies, utility fees, insurance, and other miscellaneous costs. It is anticipated that construction and occupancy will be completed by December 31st, 2024. Upon approval of the terms and authorizations to enter into negotiation of an interlocal agreement with the City of Las Vegas for the exchange, the Board of Trustees will approve Resolution 22-1, transfer of the Las Vegas building and related improvements to the City of Las Vegas. It was attached, the full resolution is attached to the motion. Subsequently, a public hearing will be scheduled as part of the regular scheduled meeting of Board of Trustees on July 24th, 2022, in which time objections to the exchange may be made.
Let's, since we have 2 motions here, let's take them separately. Trustee Rogers, since you're our liaison on this project, if you would, please.
Of course. I motion to approve the terms and to authorize staff to enter into negotiations for an interlocal agreement with the City of Las Vegas for the exchange of the Las Vegas Library building and related improvements for city-owned parcel, capital contribution, other consideration for the construction of the new West Side Library, subject to final review and agreement, or subject to final review of agreement by council and approval of the board.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Rogers, second by Wah. All in favor?
Mr. Chairman, I have a lot of questions.
Oh, you have a lot of questions?
Sorry
Okay,
to
hold the
move so
vote.
fast.
I'm sorry, my mistake.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Please, let's go with the discussion and questions.
And I'll be quick. First of all, thank you very much, Mr. Vino. Thank you, Mr. Chair. This actually started 3.5 years ago. And then this actual document was at a request of, I don't want to speak for Trustee Benavides, but she was concerned that we didn't have anything in writing and we're proceeding to spend 30 million. So that closes that question or problem that we were having. So I do have some questions, okay? First, did they combine all the parcels into one parcel?
It's 3 separate tax parcels. It'll be one building parcel. They are parceling APN .09, which is a little larger, and the city still owes us the legal description. So
So they did not combine the parcels.
it is going to be one building parcel. It's one legal parcel. Yes.
Okay,
according
so
to
they
our
did
attorneys,
combine,
it's one
okay.
legal parcel, 3 taxing parcels. They do have to parcel one parcel that has the fire department on it, and the city is working on that right now.
And carving out our
Yes,
section out. Okay,
correct.
very good. Do we know the value of all those parcels?
I ran some numbers, just judging by what the property on our property is worth. It's about $4.25 a square foot. So somewhere in about $1 million range.
Okay,
And we haven't run a full appraisal. We will as part of the new market tax credits.
okay. And reading the document that we're gonna vet out or have a public hearing on, and you said July 24th, but I think it's July 14th. Is that correct?
I might have misread it. It's
Yeah.
July 14th.
So in that document, so that we're clear, I didn't read anything contrary. We're getting the land clear and free with no restrictions, no,
But the property
Crawlback.
itself has restrictions because it's in a park. So
sure,
we agreed to meet and build based on those conditions, the CCR. So.
but it's not the same restrictions as the current West Las Vegas Library where we own the
No.
building and they own the land.
No, this is, we're getting a fee simple title.
That's the best thing I've heard in all this because we're capable of running libraries, we're
Yeah.
capable of building libraries, so best thing I heard. So very good. So we're getting the land free and clear. The land is.
For 99 years. I mean, I believe the city after 99 years, just like a ground lease, we'll have to sit
So
down and
we don't
decide.
own, so that's my question. So we don't own the land.
We'll own the land in 99 years. There's a revisionary.
So we don't own the land. 99 years, they'll get it back.
They'll get it back. So we
Okay.
can't, yeah.
So
We own, well, we're getting title. It just has a
we'll,
restriction on
we'll
it.
do work on that to get
Yeah.
clear title because same here. We don't own the land here and it becomes problematic when we go to bonding and so on. But anyway, I don't want to sidetrack the questions, but okay. I won't be around 99 years, but I'll make sure we put that somewhere so somebody 99
It'll be
years
in the
later.
interlocal agreement.
Thank you. Okay. So two last questions. So once we have our meeting and we vote on this, then there's no objection, then it goes to city council for signature, correct?
This is ours. The city, after we do ours, I will let this, if you approve the resolution, we'll let the city know that we've done our resolution and they will be bringing their resolution to the city council.
Okay.
They required, I believe, us to go first.
I won't even get into that. Thank you
Okay.
very much. You did a good job. Okay, so what I have here is 30 million, less the purchase. They're buying back the West Las Vegas Library. Did I hear correctly? They're buying the library and the theater?
They're buying, yeah, they're buying the improvements at the appraised value.
Okay, and did they take the equipment in there or are we taking our equipment back?
We're probably going to, since it needs to be a functional theater, we're going to walk it with them and see what they want. But in terms of the theater, it is our intent to leave it a functioning theater since we intend to use it, even for our own use, even
Well,
after we leave.
I think well, it's unfair because it's equipment, you just paid 10,000 or
I think we're
14,000
getting
for
a little
library.
off the interlocal, subject to the agreement on the land here.
Well, but it's important because this price is going to keep climbing, so we need to find, and I get you what you're saying, move on, but yeah, so keep that in mind, and let us know what's taken out, because I don't want to leave them anything. If they're not paying for it, I want everything out.
Okay.
That's my opinion. Okay, and so with that, I'm excited. This project's been around 3.5 years or longer, but I think that community deserves it. And this is the board that's bringing it forward. So thank you very much. That's all the questions I had.
Any further discussion on the motion?
I just want to make one comment regarding the equipment, especially in the theater. Keep in mind that we're still going to be using it for programming. So we don't want to strip it clean.
Sure. Thank you very much. And there's other stuff besides the theater for sure. We need to leave that community with a very good theater. But the other equipment in the other library, there's,
Most of the equipment in the library will come with us.
yeah, no, it's a good theater. It needs to be.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was referencing the theater.
Uh-huh.
That we're going to leave it as an operational theater.
Very good.
That would be definitely goodwill as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And seeing no other discussion, all in favor
Aye.
and opposed? Motion carries. Yay. Thank you,
All
Mr.
right.
Bino, for getting this here on time.
One more.
We gotta applaud the first part.
Thank you.
That was the big one right there, that interlocal.
Yes.
Okay,
Been a long journey.
next part of the motion.
I motion to approve resolution number 22-01, transfer of West Las Vegas Library Building and related improvements to the city of Las Vegas.
Second.
Second, motion by trustee Rogers, second by trustee Raymaker. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now applaud.
Thank you. Thank you. I will need chair and secretary signature on 2 copies of the resolution we have with us. I'll get what you after.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 5, increase educational assistance tuition reimbursement rates for the 2022-2023 budget year.
For the record, Jeffrey Serpico, Director of Human Resources, Chair Wilson, Director Watson, trustees. At the April 2021 Board of Trustees meeting, the indirect compensation survey conducted by Coffin Associates was presented to the Board of Trustees. Overall, the district provided employee benefits plans that were found to be in line with or slightly above median market values for the benchmarked organizations that we compared ourselves against. With the exception of the district's educational assistance, often called tuition reimbursement plan. Right now, the district has 8 people enrolled who are undergraduate, and those rates are $1,000 per year. We had budgeted for 10 individuals. Our graduate reimbursement rates are $2,000. We have 14 enrolled. We had budgeted for 15. So of a budget of 40,000, we've used about 25,000 this year, and we're at the end of the cycle. We expect to pay out about 8,000 before the end of June. Market survey data put the median tuition reimbursement for the organizations at $5,000 a year. The range was 0 to 10,000. In Coffin Associates report, they did say the district is below market in tuition reimbursement benefits. And again, this was presented at the April meeting. We're making a recommendation to authorize an increase in the fiscal year 22-23 tuition reimbursement rates to $2,000 for undergraduate programs and $3,000 for graduate programs. Estimated increase of $22,000 based on current enrollment. I had a meeting with Director Cabayas concerning the budget, and he did indicate that we do have the funds in the HR budget to accommodate this.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Trustee Watt.
I move to authorize an increase in the fiscal year 2022-2023 tuition reimbursement rates to $2,000 for undergraduate programs and $3,000 for graduate programs for an estimated increase of $22,000 based on current enrollment.
No, second.
Okay, motion by Trustee Wass, second by Trustee Raymaker. Any discussion on the subject?
Chairman Wilson, I'm just curious, we doubled it for the undergrads that I rated. Is there a reasoning behind it? I mean, have we seen tuition bills go up?
Well, tuition bills have gone up considerably. I can pass forward the number at the next meeting. But the reason we're making this recommendation is based on where we stand compared to other organizations. In bringing our benefit more in line to be competitive with the other organizations that we would recruit people from, or try to retain people who may be in school working on their degree, who may jump to another organization to use that tuition benefit. In general, you see the tuition benefit usually run around $5,000 because the IRS limit is $5,250. After that, it has to be taxed. So this is based on that. The report indicated our benefits actually been a little bit low. I mean, that's what they had said at the April meeting.
Okay.
And from my experience, it is a little bit low.
I just wanted
If
some background. Thank you.
I do have a question on
Sure.
it. Just kind of to piggyback on that. I know most of this board, if not all of us unanimously, are big fans of the education end of it to begin with, but please correct me if I'm remembering this wrong, but when I think back to the comp study, right, we had to adjust our comp to get in line, and we went a little bit above the median to do that on the baselines.
On the base,
Right.
yes.
And on the benefits side, we actually ranked very high as a total benefits package compared to the market as a complete package overall. the
As a
benefits.
complete,
That was something that made us very, very attractive. So I have to ask from a responsibility standpoint, we're making a recommendation to bring education up to be competitive with the market. Why aren't we making a recommendation to bring the stuffs we're excessive on down to be competitive with the market where we might be overpaying?
Well, you normally wouldn't do a takeaway on benefits unless you're considerably over the market. We talked about tapping the brakes a little bit. That's why we froze some of the pay ranges for a while. But it's not something you'd normally recommend. We would just not do any increases to those benefits until the market kind of catches up.
So So
We-
that.
Even with, go ahead.
No, okay. No, I was just trying to understand the process of it because I knew that
Yeah.
the comp study showed we were very generous on our benefit plan as a whole.
Overall,
And
yes.
as much as I want to, or, keep a nice education plan for the employees, I want to make sure we're responsible too and not making this a place where we cannibalize other organizations because we're just being way too generous.
Well, I think that's why we did the survey. We would
Okay.
not, recommend going over that 5,000 median. And keep in mind, this is still a pretty responsible recommendation in terms of how we're gonna get there. It's only bringing it up to 2,000 and 3,000 respectively.
Okay, thank you for that. That answers my question. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair, just a quick comment.
Trustee Ortiz?
I am not a fan of comparing us to other libraries, not at all, because it's just a never ending cycle. They got more money, we should get more money, but it doesn't really tell us. But having said that, I like the motion because I'm a firm believer in education. That's just a comment.
I have a quick question. Excuse me. Do we encourage or do we have a program where these students, we kind of keep track whether they're in like a library studies type of thing and kind of try to, I guess, help them?
Yeah, I have that with me,
Okay.
actually. My vision is not real good, but of our graduate degrees, it looks like of the MLIS, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of those are in MLIS programs. The other one is in a public administration program, which my degree is in, actually a Master of Public Administration. And we actually have somebody in a social work program too. So we do track the programs they're in. Undergrad is a little bit of variety because, there's not a lot of undergrad degrees in library science or administration. So unless it's business administration. So
Thank you. That answers my question.
Thank you. Okay, and then on that note, seeing no other discussion. Oh, wait, I see Trustee Whiteley. There you go.
Really quickly, and forgive me if I missed this, does this benefit apply to across the board or is it only to full-time? Because do part-time employees qualify for any benefit?
it's full-time staff. Yeah.
Okay, one last look around. Okay, on that note, all in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then I am going to flop item 6 and 7 here, since 7 is the last item that's going to require input from staff here, so we don't have to keep people hanging around longer than necessary. And we're going to pull up the discussion and possible board action regarding the approval for staff to make ongoing purchases of computer hardware and software, telecommunications hardware, and other related infrastructure improvements over $75,000 for fiscal year 2022, 2023.
Good evening, trustees. Al Prendergast, Chief Information Officer for the record. The IT department brings this item to the board annually for your consideration. The district established a technology replacement and upgrade program in the capital projects fund for the replacement of the district's aging technology assets and for new technology initiatives. This year's budget includes funding for the replacement of several end-of-life IT department systems, new technologies and solutions for the branches, and some new district-wide initiatives. However, as we've done in the past, some of these funds may be reallocated for newly identified priorities or to respond to unforeseen circumstances. The funding for these projects is budgeted in the Technology Replacement and Upgrade Program of the Capital Projects Fund as approved by the Board of Trustees in the fiscal year 2022-23 adopted budget. Any budgeted funds that are not expended during this fiscal year will remain in the fund, in the program for use in future years. And budget expenditures are limited to limited to the budgeted funds that are listed here. The purpose of this agenda item is to pre-approve all fiscal year 2023 technology purchases over $75,000 and provide insight into our plans for the new fiscal year. Rather than separately submitting each purchase request for over $75,000 to the Board of Trustees for approval, the IT department is respectfully requesting that the Board of Trustees give staff the authorization to approve technology-related purchases exceeding $75,000. NRS 332.115 exempts most of the items listed in the table from the formal bidding process because they're either explicitly exempt or sole sourced, or some of the items are already been competitively bid. However, as practiced by staff and as required by the district's purchasing policy, multiple informal bids will be solicited when possible, and each purchase will be reviewed and evaluated by the Information Technology Department staff for best possible pricing, and alternatives will be explored prior to purchasing. The items listed in the table represent all of the planned expenditures from the Technology Replacement and Upgrade Program of the Capital Projects Fund. The funding for these projects is budgeted at $3,102,000 for this fiscal year. The IT department will continue to provide expenditure updates to the Board of Trustees through the Executive Director's monthly board report. Thank you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Chairman, before the motion is made, I do have a question.
Absolutely.
I would ask that sorry, my vision's going too. You listed here $344,000 for a mobile app application. I would ask that that be taken out and be brought back separately. And you could please, Al, tell us what that is. That really is not a company that we're using today. It's a placeholder. Is that correct?
Yeah, we actually have one of their products. They do have the room reservation system that we use. They're the providers of that right now. Just for clarification, the number that we use here for the budget, the $344,000, is just the pricing we got from Communico. It's not a commitment to actually purchase the product from Communico. The mobile app is just a placeholder for a mobile app. It's not necessarily saying it's going to be the Communico mobile app, and we've communicated that to the vendor as well, but we needed a real number to put into the budget, and that's how we generated the number for the request.
So if I may, if I would prefer taking that Communico and just put mobile app vendor, because it leaves the impression that we've voted on that vendor, and we still haven't put it out to bid. So if you could just, that's all I would ask, and then that's all I have. Is that, if nobody objects, that's what I would like. Because at Communico, they haven't negotiated with them, they haven't put it out to bid. But if we vote for the motion, it looks like that's who we're voting for on the record. Anybody that sees this outside of this board.
Yeah, and that's accurate. My apologies. That was just to indicate that that's where we generated the number from.
So you're looking to spend $344,000 on a mobile app, and then if you
Yes.
can just strike Communico,
Yes.
I'm happy.
I have two questions.
Yes.
First one, what are we doing with the leftover, old computers? I know at the county, they donate them to the blind center where they refurbish them or part it out. What do we do with our?
We auction them, but we've certainly donated some in the past. So if you have someone you'd like to donate some to, if you forward that along, we'll get some for them.
I would be happy to open up the floor for anybody, but I know just off the top of my head, I know the blind center collects those from the county, but I mean, I would be open to any other nonprofits that would do the same type of services.
That'd be perfect timing because we're actually in the process right now of auctioning off some of our old equipment. We've held on to them for a couple of years because we have not done any PC replacements for the last couple of years. And so we've been using those as spares to replace other old PCs. We're in a 5-year replacement cycle, so we've not replaced any in a couple of years. So some of our systems are coming up 7, 8 years old at this point.
And although that equipment is wiped clear prior to.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then my second quick question, just because I saw it on here and I don't think I'm familiar with it. What's the petting zoo? I know it's a minimal amount. It's $5,000, but what is that?
Yeah, it's a petting zoo is one of the things we included in the technology plan. And what this is an opportunity for people to get their hands on technology. So it's a little demonstration area, if you will, that we would have various types of technologies that the public can come up to and touch and feel and ask questions about. What's this? Oh, that's an iPad.
Okay.
How do you use that? And then you show them how to use it. So that's what the concept is behind the petting zoo.
And that answers my questions. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
I'm on board with that we need to change and take out the Communico and just leave it to a mobile app. Just so for the clarification, any other discussion, questions at that point?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
If there are no other questions, I would move to authorize staff to make ongoing purchases of computer hardware and software, telecommunications hardware, and other related technology infrastructure improvements of $75,000 for fiscal year 2022-2023, as approved in the district's adopted budget by the Board of Trustees, which I assume will include the removing of Communico on that line.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Was, second by Rogers. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. On to back in time to item 6. This is discussion and possible board action regarding the election of board officers for fiscal year 2022, 2023, and accompanying resolution 2022-02. The nominating committee that met just before this meeting will provide a report presenting a proposed slate of officers to serve in fiscal year 22-23. As outlined in the bylaws, trustees may make additional nominations from the floor. Such nominations may be made by individual board members in their own name or by nominating another board member. However, a board member may be nominated to run for only one office at a time. No officer can be elected to an office more than 2 consecutive terms. Elections for the officers of the board shall be held immediately subsequent to the close of nominations at the June meeting. Elections shall be in the following order: chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. Motions calling for additional nominations for chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer from the floor will be the first recommended action. And first, I think what I need to do at this point is I need to put forth what our slate of recommended nominations were from the committee. So jump in and yell at me, Jerry, if I'm getting this out of order. The nominating committee has put forward the recommendation of Brian Wilson, myself for chair, trustee Nathaniel Waugh for vice chair, trustee Rogers for treasurer, and trustee Foyt for secretary. So on that note, do we have, I don't know how we do this motion correctly. So I believe now what I'm doing is I'm calling for, are there any other nominations? Anybody else that would like to nominate themselves or another member of the board? Okay, I will just ask again, for any position, does anybody else wish to self-nominate or nominate another member of the board? Okay, hearing no other nominations, my understanding is we can vote on this as a slate all at once.
Correct.
Correct. Okay, thank you. And on that note,
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make the motion to move to approve the slate of candidates from the nominating committee.
Okay, motion from trustee Ortiz,
I'll second.
second from trustee Raymaker. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, trustee Watt.
I'll move to pass resolution 2022-02, authorizing Foresta Cabaya, CFO, and newly elected treasurer, trustee Keith Rogers, to execute checks on behalf of the library district until June 30, 2023. In the event the library board treasurer is unable to perform the duties of treasurer, or that position of treasurer is vacant for any reason, then in that event, the secretary of the library board of trustees, trustee Elizabeth Foyt, is authorized to execute checks on behalf of the library district until June 30, 2023, or until a new treasurer is elected.
I will second that motion. Motion by trustee Waugh, second by chair Wilson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And then on that note, we'll move on to announcements. I have a very quick myself. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been a pleasure serving as chair, and I look forward to another year. Our meetings for July will be held Thursday, July 14th at 5 p.m. And that one, what are we doing? That one at where is that one at? East Las Vegas. Library. The August meeting will be on Thursday, August 11th at 5 PM at the Clark County Library. And the September meeting will be held Thursday, September 8th, 5 PM at the West Las Vegas Library. And this is probably the happiest meeting I am going to walk out of in the time I've been on this board, having this interlocal agreement moving forward. So thank you to everybody here on this board for all the work to get this done. And thank you very much, Mr. Vino and all of the staff for all the work you did on this. And I look very, very, very forward to getting out there with our tiny little silver spoons, because with inflation, we can't afford shovels to break ground. Is there any public comment at this time?
No, we don't.
And on that note, we don't need an executive session. The meeting is adjourned.
Congratulations again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.